What would you do if you walked into a hospital at midnight and found 6 German Shepherd puppies forming a protective circle around a 2-day-old baby whose parents had both died in a car accident, and the puppies had somehow gotten into the locked pediatric ward without anyone knowing how or why? That's exactly what Navy SEAL veteran Axel Thompson discovered when an emergency call led him to the most mysterious rescue of his life, where 6 8-week-old puppies were demonstrating protective behaviors that defied every understanding of canine development and hospital security. But what Axel didn't know was that these weren't random puppies. They were the offspring of Bella, a legendary therapy dog whose supernatural ability to detect medical emergencies had saved over 200 lives before her death 3 days earlier. And her babies had inherited abilities that would either save an innocent child or reveal a conspiracy that reached into the highest levels of the medical system. This is the true story of silent guardians who communicated without sound, a baby whose life depended on protection that seemed impossible, and the moment when they won't let anyone near her became the mystery that would either expose the truth or cost everyone their lives. Where are you watching from right now? Drop your location in the comments. And if you believe that some protection transcends explanation and some bonds form before birth, hit that like button. You're going to need every bit of faith you have for this one. Now, let's begin. The call came at 2:17 a.m. from Dr. Rebecca Martinez at Kalispell Regional Medical Center, waking Axel Thompson from deep sleep at his Montana cabin, where Scout, Ranger, Angel, Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, and Echo were resting after a challenging week of search and rescue operations. "Axel, this is Dr. Martinez in pediatric intensive care." Her voice carried confusion that immediately put Axel on high alert. "I need you and the Midnight Brotherhood here immediately. We have a situation that no one can explain." Axel was instantly alert, his thick dark beard still bearing the creases of sleep, but his weathered military features hardening into the focus that had served him through countless emergencies. "What's the nature of the emergency, Dr. Martinez?" 3 hours ago, we admitted a 2-day-old infant whose parents died in a vehicle accident. The baby is healthy but requires protective custody until social services can arrange placement. But Axel, something impossible has happened. The Midnight Brotherhood sensed the gravity in Axel's voice and began moving into alert positions, but Scout, Ranger, and Angel were showing unusual restlessness that suggested this call involved more than standard emergency response. "Dr. Martinez, what kind of impossible?" 6 German Shepherd puppies have somehow gotten into our pediatric ward and positioned themselves around the baby's incubator. Security cameras show they appeared around midnight, but there's no record of how they entered the building. All doors were locked, all security protocols were active. Axel felt his blood run cold. Puppies didn't just materialize in hospital pediatric wards, especially not in coordinated protective formations. Are the puppies aggressive? Are they threatening the infant? That's what's impossible, Axel. They're not aggressive at all. They've formed a perfect protective circle around the baby and won't let anyone approach except medical staff with legitimate medical purposes. They seem to be guarding her. Dr. Martinez's voice carried the confusion of a medical professional witnessing something that challenged her understanding of animal behavior. The puppies are approximately 8 weeks old, but they're demonstrating protective coordination that exceeds adult dogs. And Axel, they haven't made a single sound since they arrived. Silent puppies? Complete silence. No barking, no whining, no vocalizations of any kind. But they communicate with each other through body language and positioning that suggests they're following some kind of coordinated plan. The situation was unprecedented. 8-week-old puppies didn't demonstrate coordinated protective behavior, they didn't breach hospital security systems, and they certainly didn't conduct silent operations that indicated tactical planning. "Dr. Martinez, what happened to the baby's parents?" "Vehicle accident on Highway 2 3 nights ago. David and Maria Santos, both 28 years old, died on impact. The baby, Isabella Santos, was born 2 days before the accident and was still in the hospital when her parents were killed." Axel studied the tactical situation while Scout, Ranger, Angel, Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, and Echo showed increasing agitation that meant they sensed something beyond normal emergency parameters. "Dr. Martinez, are there any other unusual circumstances surrounding this case?" "Axel, that's why I'm calling you." The vehicle accident is being investigated as possible intentional homicide. The Santos family had been receiving threats related to David's work as a whistleblower exposing medical fraud, and now their infant daughter is being protected by puppies that appeared from nowhere. The drive to Kalispell Regional Medical Center took 28 minutes, but it was the most strategically complex 28 minutes of Axel's recent career. This wasn't just an animal control issue. This was a situation that involved infant protection, possible murder, and puppies demonstrating abilities that shouldn't exist. When Axel arrived at the hospital, Dr. Martinez met him with an expression that combined professional confusion with genuine amazement. "They're in pediatric room 7, she said, leading Axel through corridors that felt more like a fortress than a medical facility. "But Axel, what you're about to see challenges everything we know about animal development and protective behavior." In pediatric room 7, Axel encountered something that would change his understanding of inherited protection instincts and supernatural animal abilities. 6 German Shepherd puppies, 8 weeks old, positioned in a perfect defensive formation around an infant incubator containing 2-day-old Isabella Santos. The puppies were alert, coordinated, and demonstrating tactical awareness that exceeded military working dog standards. But it was their complete silence that made the scene most remarkable. Not one sound. No puppy noises, no breathing sounds loud enough to hear, no movement sounds despite their constant repositioning for optimal protection coverage. "Jesus Christ," Axel whispered, watching 6 babies demonstrate security protocols that would have impressed federal protection services. "That's not the strangest part," Dr. Martinez said. "Watch this." Dr. Martinez approached the incubator with medical equipment, and the 6 puppies immediately assessed her intentions, allowed her access to provide necessary care, then resumed protective formation the moment her medical tasks were complete. They're evaluating threats versus legitimate medical needs, Axel realized. These puppies are conducting security assessments that exceed trained adult dogs. But it was when a hospital administrator attempted to approach the incubator that the puppies revealed the true sophistication of their protective capabilities. The 6 dogs immediately coordinated to block access while making no aggressive moves, simply positioning their bodies to prevent approach while communicating through silent gestures that clearly meant no unauthorized access permitted. "Dr. Martinez," Axel said, studying the puppies whose abilities defied every standard measurement for canine development, "have you identified where these puppies came from?" "That's the final piece of the impossible puzzle," Dr. Martinez replied. "Based on their appearance and behavior, we believe they're the offspring of Bella, a therapy dog who worked in this hospital for 6 years before dying 3 days ago." "Bella died 3 days ago?" "The same night David and Maria Santos were killed. Bella had been assigned to the maternity ward and had developed a special attachment to baby Isabella. When Bella died of sudden cardiac failure, these 6 puppies appeared the next night to continue protecting the baby their mother had been guarding." Axel looked at the 6 silent guardians, whose inherited protective instincts had brought them to a hospital to protect an orphaned infant they had somehow identified as needing protection. But it was what happened next that revealed this wasn't just about inherited protection. It was about a conspiracy that had cost 3 lives and was targeting a 4th. One of the puppies, a female with distinctive white markings, approached Axel and began making silent gestures that clearly communicated urgent information about approaching danger. "Dr. Martinez," Axel said, interpreting the puppy's warnings, "I think these puppies aren't just protecting Isabella from general threats. I think they're protecting her from specific people who are coming to harm her tonight." The puppy's urgent, silent communication intensified, indicating that whoever had killed David and Maria Santos was about to make their move to eliminate the last witness to their crimes. A 2-day-old baby whose only protection was 6 German Shepherd puppies whose mother had died trying to save her. What Dr. Martinez told Axel next would expose why 6 German Shepherd puppies had risked everything to protect a 2-day-old baby, and why their silence was the most sophisticated protection strategy ever developed by canine intelligence. "Axel," Dr. Martinez said while the 6 puppies maintained their protective formation around Isabella's incubator, "David Santos wasn't just any whistleblower. He was a medical equipment inspector who had discovered that Pinnacle Medical Corporation was manufacturing defective infant life support systems that had caused 17 baby deaths across 4 states. The lead puppy, The female, with white markings, immediately oriented toward Dr. Martinez's voice and began making silent gestures that Axel recognized as tactical intelligence signals. She's responding to specific information about the medical fraud, Axel realized. These puppies understand the connection between David's investigation and the threat to Isabella. Dr. Martinez continued while the puppies demonstrated increasing alertness. David had collected evidence proving that Pinnacle Medical was bribing hospital administrators to purchase defective equipment, then covering up infant deaths by falsifying medical records. He was scheduled to testify before federal investigators next week. But it was what Dr. Martinez revealed about Bella's death that explained why her puppies had inherited abilities that exceeded normal canine development. Bella had been present during 3 of the infant deaths that David was investigating. Each time, she had tried to alert medical staff that the equipment was malfunctioning, but her warnings were ignored. The stress of watching babies die while being unable to save them eventually caused her cardiac failure. The 6 puppies moved into tighter protective formation around Isabella, as if understanding that their mother had died trying to prevent exactly the kind of medical murder that was now threatening the baby they were protecting. Dr. Martinez, Axel said, studying the puppies' coordinated behavior. I think these puppies aren't just protecting Isabella from generic threats. I think they've inherited their mother's ability to detect medical equipment malfunctions, and they know someone is planning to use defective equipment to kill Isabella. What happened next confirmed Axel's worst fears about the sophistication of the threat they were facing. The 6 puppies simultaneously oriented toward the same corridor, their bodies tensing in coordinated alert formation that indicated approaching danger with specific weapons or equipment signatures. Someone's coming with medical equipment, Axel interpreted from the puppies' behavior, equipment that they recognize as dangerous to Isabella. Dr. Martinez checked her schedule. No medical procedures are scheduled for Isabella tonight. All of her care requirements have been completed until morning. The sound of footsteps in the corridor confirmed that someone was approaching pediatric room 7 with unauthorized equipment during unauthorized hours, exactly the scenario the puppies had been anticipating. Dr. Martinez, who has access to this ward during night hours? Only authorized medical staff with specific patient assignments. But Axel, the puppies are showing alert behavior that suggests they recognize whoever is approaching as a threat to Isabella specifically. 3 figures in medical scrubs appeared in the corridor, carrying equipment that looked like standard pediatric life support systems, but which the 6 puppies immediately identified as dangerous. Dr. Martinez, I'm Dr. Harrison from Pediatric Cardiology, the lead figure announced. We've detected irregularities in Isabella Santos's heart rhythm that require immediate intervention. But the 6 puppies moved into defensive formation that clearly communicated their assessment. These were not legitimate medical personnel, this was not legitimate medical equipment, and Isabella was not experiencing cardiac issues. Dr. Harrison, Dr. Martinez replied, Isabella's cardiac monitoring shows completely normal patterns. She doesn't require intervention. Dr. Martinez, we have federal authorization to provide emergency medical care to Isabella Santos. Please step aside so we can administer necessary treatment. That's when the lead puppy made a decision that would expose the entire medical fraud conspiracy. Despite her commitment to silent operation, she broke her silence with a single, sharp bark that was immediately answered by tactical alert sounds from the other 5 puppies. They're not medical personnel, Axel realized, interpreting the puppies' coordinated warning signals. These are Pinnacle medical contractors here to eliminate Isabella using defective equipment that will cause cardiac failure. The false medical team's response revealed the true nature of their mission. All personnel, target infant, is protected by unidentified animals, initiating emergency medical protocol with authorization to eliminate any interference. Dr. Martinez understood immediately. They're here to murder Isabella using medical equipment that will make it look like sudden infant death syndrome. But the 6 puppies had anticipated this exact scenario and had prepared a defense strategy that combined their inherited medical detection abilities with tactical coordination that exceeded professional security teams. The lead puppy began coordinating a counter-operation that would protect Isabella while exposing the murder attempt through evidence preservation that no human security team could have achieved. Working in perfect silence despite the crisis, the 6 puppies began documenting the assassination attempt through behavior patterns that would serve as evidence in federal court. One puppy positioned herself to monitor and record the false medical equipment's actual functions versus its supposed medical purposes. Two puppies coordinated to preserve evidence of the assassin's true identities and affiliations with Pinnacle Medical Corporation. Two more puppies focused on protecting Isabella's actual medical monitoring equipment from sabotage or tampering. The lead puppy maintained overall coordination while serving as primary protection for Isabella herself. Dr. Martinez, Axel said, watching 6 8-week-old puppies conduct a counterintelligence operation that would bring down a corporate murder conspiracy. These puppies aren't just protecting Isabella, they're conducting a federal investigation that their mother died trying to complete. The false medical team began setting up equipment that the puppies immediately identified as designed to cause infant cardiac failure rather than prevent it. But it was what the lead puppy did next that would save Isabella's life and expose the 17 other infant murders that Pinnacle Medical had committed. Using inherited abilities from her mother Bella, the puppy began making sounds that activated Isabella's actual medical monitoring equipment, creating an alarm that would bring legitimate medical staff to investigate the unauthorized medical intervention. Code Blue, Pediatric Room 7, came the hospital announcement. All pediatric staff to Pediatric Room 7 immediately. The false medical team realized their cover had been blown by a puppy who understood hospital emergency protocols better than they did. All units, eliminate witnesses and complete mission objective. No survivors, no evidence. But by then, 6 German Shepherd puppies, whose mother had died protecting babies from medical murder, had already accomplished what federal investigators had been unable to achieve. They had caught corporate assassins in the act of committing infanticide using defective medical equipment. The battle for Isabella's life and the evidence that could expose 17 infant murders was about to test whether inherited protection instincts and silent coordination could defeat corporate murder backed by falsified federal medical authorization. When legitimate pediatric staff responded to the Code Blue alarm, they found a scene that would be investigated by 3 federal agencies and result in the largest medical fraud prosecution in U.S. history. 6 German Shepherd puppies had coordinated the most sophisticated evidence preservation operation ever conducted by 8-week-old animals, while simultaneously protecting a 2-day-old infant from corporate assassins disguised as medical personnel. "What the hell is happening here?" Dr. Sarah Kim, chief of pediatric cardiology, demanded as she entered the room to find 3 unauthorized medical personnel attempting to connect defective equipment to Isabella Santos, while 6 puppies maintained defensive positions around the infant. "Dr. Kim, these individuals are not hospital staff," Dr. Martinez reported while the lead puppy made silent gestures that clearly indicated the equipment posed immediate danger to Isabella. But it was what the puppies had accomplished during the critical minutes before backup arrived that would expose the entire Pinnacle Medical murder conspiracy. Working in perfect coordination despite their age, the 6 puppies had systematically documented every aspect of the assassination attempt using inherited abilities their mother had developed during 6 years of medical facility work. The lead puppy had somehow activated recording equipment that captured the false medical team discussing their mission to eliminate Isabella using equipment designed to cause cardiac failure. 2 puppies had coordinated to preserve serial numbers and technical specifications of the defective equipment that would prove its connection to the previous 17 infant deaths. 2 more puppies had positioned themselves to monitor and record the assassin's communication with Pinnacle medical executives coordinating the murder operation. The 6th puppy had maintained direct protective contact with Isabella while using inherited medical detection abilities to monitor her actual health status versus the false cardiac emergency the assassins claimed to be treating. "Dr. Kim," the lead assassin said, showing falsified federal medical authorization, "we have emergency clearance to treat this infant's critical cardiac condition. These animals are interfering with federal medical intervention." But the lead puppy made a sound that activated Isabella's actual cardiac monitoring display, which showed completely normal heart rhythm and no indication of any medical emergency. "This infant shows no signs of cardiac distress," Dr. Kim announced, studying the monitoring equipment. "Her vital signs are completely normal. There is no medical justification for emergency intervention." "Dr. Kim, Federal Medical Authority supersedes local hospital assessment. Please remove these animals so we can provide necessary treatment." That's when the 6 puppies demonstrated why their mother, Bella, had been legendary in medical circles for her ability to detect equipment malfunctions before they caused patient deaths. Working in silent coordination, the puppies began making specific gestures that directed medical staff to examine the emergency equipment the assassins were attempting to use on Isabella. "Dr. Martinez," Dr. Kim said, following the puppy's guidance to inspect the equipment. "This cardiac monitoring device shows manufacturing defects that would cause equipment failure during operation." The equipment inspection revealed sophisticated sabotage designed to cause infant cardiac arrest while creating electronic records that would indicate natural sudden infant death syndrome. "This isn't medical equipment," Dr. Kim realized. "This is a murder weapon designed to kill babies while falsifying medical records." But it was what happened when the assassins realized their cover had been blown that proved the 6 puppies had inherited more than just medical detection abilities. They had inherited tactical combat awareness that would save everyone's lives. "All units, witnesses have identified mission parameters. Eliminate all evidence, including medical staff and animals." The false medical team abandoned their medical disguises and revealed weapons designed to eliminate everyone in pediatric room 7, while making the deaths appear to be part of a hospital security incident. But the 6 puppies had anticipated exactly this escalation and had prepared defensive strategies that combined their inherited abilities with the tactical intelligence their mother had developed protecting vulnerable patients. The lead puppy immediately coordinated a silent alarm system that alerted hospital security without warning the assassins that backup was en route. 2 puppies moved to protect Dr. Kim and Dr. Martinez by positioning themselves between the medical staff and the armed assassins. 2 more puppies coordinated to protect Isabella's life support systems from sabotage while maintaining her medical monitoring. The 6th puppy took the most dangerous assignment, direct confrontation with the lead assassin to prevent him from accessing Isabella. What followed was the most extraordinary medical facility defense ever conducted by puppies, whose protective instincts exceeded military working dog standards. Despite being only 8 weeks old, the 6 puppies demonstrated tactical awareness that allowed them to coordinate defensive operations while protecting civilian medical staff who had no combat training. When the lead assassin attempted to eliminate Isabella using a weapon disguised as medical equipment, the 6th puppy positioned herself between the weapon and the infant, accepting potentially fatal injury to protect the baby her mother had died trying to save. When the other assassins attempted to eliminate Dr. Kim and Dr. Martinez as witnesses, 4 puppies coordinated flanking maneuvers that used the medical equipment and hospital furniture as defensive barriers while guiding the medical staff to safety. The lead puppy maintained overall coordination while documenting the entire assault through behavior patterns that would serve as evidence in federal prosecutions. But the most remarkable moment came when hospital security arrived to find 6 German Shepherd puppies who had successfully defended a pediatric ward against corporate assassins while preserving evidence that would expose 17 infant murders. Security to Pediatric Ward 7. We have multiple armed intruders neutralized by 6 German Shepherd puppies who appear to have coordinated defensive operations that exceeded our professional security protocols. The assassins' communication equipment, which the puppies had preserved as evidence, revealed the scope of the pinnacle medical conspiracy. 23 hospitals across 7 states, 47 medical staff on corporate payrolls, and federal officials coordinating cover-ups of infant deaths caused by deliberately defective equipment. "Dr. Kim," Axel said, watching the 6 puppies resume their protective formation around Isabella while maintaining evidence preservation procedures. "These puppies just exposed a corporate murder conspiracy that has killed dozens of babies while corrupting the medical system designed to protect them." But it was Isabella's response to her protectors that revealed the most important truth about inherited bonds and genetic memory that transcends species. Despite being only 2 days old, Isabella had stopped crying the moment the 6 puppies took their protective positions around her incubator. Throughout the assassination attempt, she had remained calm and alert, as if understanding that her silent guardians were fighting to protect her life. "Axel," Dr. Martinez said, studying Isabella's remarkable calm during mortal danger, "I think this baby knows these puppies are her family. Her mother had met Bella during prenatal visits, and Isabella has been surrounded by their protective presence since birth." The battle was won, but the larger war against medical corruption was just beginning. And 6 German Shepherd puppies who had inherited their mother's mission to protect vulnerable babies had proven that some bonds are so strong they survive death, some protection transcends species, and some justice requires inherited courage that grows stronger when faced with people who weaponize the medical system against innocent lives. 18 months after 6 German Shepherd puppies saved Isabella Santos from corporate assassins, the medical fraud case they had exposed became the largest healthcare corruption prosecution in U.S. history. But their real legacy was measured in lives saved rather than criminals convicted. The evidence the puppies had preserved during their silent defense of Pediatric Room 7 led to federal charges against 127 individuals across 7 states, including Pinnacle medical executives, hospital administrators, federal officials, and the assassination team that had attempted to murder a 2-day-old baby. But Isabella Santos, now a healthy 20-month-old toddler, had become something unprecedented in child development, the first human infant to be raised from birth by a coordinated pack of German Shepherds whose protective abilities exceeded professional security services. "Dr. Kim," Axel said during a family gathering at his Montana cabin, "watching Isabella grow up with her 6 guardians has changed everything we thought we knew about human-animal bonds and early childhood development." The 6 puppies, now full-grown German Shepherds named Silence, Guardian, Protector, Defender, Shield, and Sentinel, had never lost their commitment to Isabella's protection, but their abilities had evolved far beyond basic guarding instincts. Working with the Midnight Brotherhood, they had developed a new form of medical detection and child protection that combined inherited abilities with learned techniques that revolutionized pediatric safety protocols. Silence, the lead guardian who had coordinated the original defense, had become Isabella's primary companion and demonstrated an ability to predict medical issues hours before symptoms appeared. Guardian and Protector worked together to monitor Isabella's environment for any threats, from choking hazards to dangerous chemicals, using detection abilities that exceeded electronic monitoring systems. Defender and Shield specialized in crowd protection, ensuring Isabella's safety during public appearances while maintaining the gentle demeanor necessary for interacting with a toddler. Sentinel served as communication coordinator, somehow facilitating understanding between Isabella and her 6 protectors despite the obvious species barriers. The remarkable thing about Isabella's development, Dr. Martinez observed while watching the toddler play safely under coordinated protection that never interfered with her natural curiosity, is that she's not just protected by these dogs, she's learning from them. Isabella had developed problem-solving abilities, situational awareness, and emotional regulation that exceeded typical child development patterns. More importantly, she had learned to communicate with her guardians through gestures and sounds that created understanding between human and canine intelligence. She's not just their protected child, Axel Thompson realized during one of their family visits. She's becoming the bridge between human and animal communication that proves some bonds form before birth and grow stronger with shared experience. But the most important measure of the Guardian's success was the medical detection program they had inspired across the country. The Bella Santos Foundation for Medical Safety, established in memory of the therapy dog whose death had led to her offspring's heroism, had trained 127 medical detection dog teams that worked in hospitals nationwide to identify equipment malfunctions before they could cause patient deaths. The foundation has prevented 43 equipment-related deaths in the past year alone, Dr. Sarah Kim reported during a congressional hearing on medical device safety. The detection abilities that Bella passed to her offspring have been successfully replicated in training programs that could save thousands of lives. But it was Isabella herself who provided the most important testimony about what her guardians had accomplished. Now, capable of simple words and complex emotional expression, Isabella had developed a vocabulary that included commands and communications specifically designed for coordinating with her 6 protectors. Safe, careful, check, and protect had become Isabella's most frequently used words, but she had also developed sounds and gestures that her guardians understood as requests for specific types of protection or assistance. The most remarkable aspect of Isabella's development, child psychologist Dr. Jennifer Walsh observed, is that she's not becoming dependent on protection. She's learning to coordinate protection. She understands that safety is a partnership between herself and her guardians. The evening harmony that had become tradition at Axel's cabin now included Isabella's voice alongside the dog's melodic sounds, creating a family song that represented the evolution of human-animal partnerships. "You know what I learned from watching Isabella grow up with her guardians?" Sarah Williams, now Isabella's legal adoptive mother, asked during one of their quiet family moments. "What's that?" Axel replied, watching Isabella coordinate bedtime routines with 6 German shepherds whose devotion to her protection had never wavered. "I learned that some families aren't created by birth or adoption, they're created by shared purpose and mutual protection." Isabella's guardians didn't choose to protect her because someone commanded it. They chose to protect her because protecting innocent life is encoded in their genetic memory. Isabella, now comfortable with complex family discussions, approached Axel with the same confident communication she'd developed with her 6 guardians. Despite being barely 20 months old, she had learned that family meant choosing to protect each other and working together to keep everyone safe. "Protect," Isabella said clearly, gesturing to her guardians and then to Axel, Emma, Sarah, and the rest of their extended family. "Family protect." The 6 guardians arranged themselves around Isabella in their traditional protective formation, but their positioning had evolved to include the entire Thompson family, demonstrating that their protective instincts had expanded to encompass everyone who had become part of Isabella's chosen family. "Isabella," Axel said, understanding that this 20-month-old child had articulated the fundamental principle that guided their entire family. "You're absolutely right. Family means protecting each other, and the strongest protection comes from choosing to work together." 6 magnificent German shepherds and 1 remarkable toddler continued their evening harmony, filling the Montana cabin with sounds that represented the future of human-animal partnerships and the understanding that some bonds transcend species, age, and traditional family structures. Because sometimes the most important protection doesn't come from security systems or government agencies. Sometimes it comes from inherited loyalty that survives death, genetic memory that guides newborns to their protectors, and the understanding that families formed by choice and strengthened by shared danger create bonds that no corporation, conspiracy, or criminal network can break. And sometimes the most powerful testimony isn't delivered in courtrooms by expert witnesses. Sometimes it's delivered by a 20-month-old child who looks at 6 German shepherds and says, "Family protect," understanding that love expressed through protection is the foundation of every relationship worth preserving. For silence, guardian, protector, defender, shield, and sentinel, who proved that inherited purpose can be stronger than training, coordination, or age. For Bella, whose death-protecting babies led to her offspring completing the mission she died trying to achieve. For Isabella Santos, who taught us that some families are formed by protection rather than birth, and that communication transcends species when love provides the foundation. For the Bella Santos Foundation, where inherited medical detection abilities save lives every day across the country. Welcome to a world where genetic memory guides protection, where silent guardians communicate through action rather than sound, and where the strongest families are those who choose to protect innocent life no matter the cost. 6 puppies whose silence protected a baby's life. 1 infant whose survival exposed a conspiracy that had murdered 17 others. 1 family that proves the most powerful protection comes from bonds that form before birth and strengthen under fire. Sometimes the most important voices are the ones that speak through action, and the most powerful families are the ones that choose to protect rather than possess. We want to hear what you felt while listening to this story. Don't forget to comment and rate the story out of 10.